arrive, but couldn't quite squeeze it inside the near post. You have to say they've created next to nothing in front of goal from open play, and Chelsea come forward again as Piliqueta. Pulisic was racing in there, and Lucas Torreira brings it away. Koke. How much added time will we get? Minimum of 6 added minutes. There is still time, and plenty of it. Atletico Madrid could still salvage something from this first leg. A very professional performance in Bucharest. Diego Simeone will be disappointed that his team created very little on the night. They are as they leave the field in Bucharest. The job is only half done, and Atletico Madrid are far from out of this tie. Full time in Bucharest. Atletico Madrid 0, Chelsea 1.
Two clubs founded by students and scholars of classical studies more than a century ago. Verona employing the name Hellas to represent Greece at the request of a local professor of classics. Juventus in Latin, meaning youth. Not something that's really on Gigi Buffon's side right now. A city that really is a tourist hub in the north. There's a Western McKenny. Of course, it's the setting for William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, famed for its artistic heritage, the operas at the ancient Roman amphitheatre. And if you get the chance to visit, there's the statue of the great poet and the father of the Italian language, Dante Alighieri, in the Piazza del Signori. Well, Ivan Juric has certainly brought some stability to the team here. I just wonder whether they're set to finish mid-table again, or is it realistic, David, to think they could even clinch a European place this season?
I was really wondering where the segue between the great scholars and perhaps asking about football was going to come in, and it's exactly there, Steve. Yeah, it's a come up. You've got to look at prolonged consolidation, even more so given what's happened within the last year or so globally. And for Hellas Verona and even Juric, is a player, is a manager, obviously, that we really have enjoyed his experience of what he's done so far with this particular side. And once again, you'll see a team that's set up, that's not afraid to attack Juve, and given their recent form at home, that have plenty of confidence doing that.
And is it fair to say the critics, the doubters, are still going to have questions about Juve despite that solid win on Monday?
Absolutely. I mean, the fact that you look at the names on the team sheet, the names on the bench, the man in charge, of course, Andrea Pirlo, it gives them a nice little helping hand, doesn't it, ahead of the two Milan teams playing tomorrow, just to close that gap perhaps just overnight and maybe quell some of that particular pressure. But I think such has been the way that Juve have dominated Serie A. Of course the standards are high, of course there's a huge expectation, but you look what happened with Maurizio Sarri. He won the league, he didn't win the league in the right way, and he was soon on his way. So yeah, expectations are extremely high for Andrea Pirlo and Juventus.
Well, curiously, it could yet be the old lady's best season ever, despite the fact they've had to draw on the Primavera squad in some depth tonight. The Champions League tie against Porto, that's certainly retrievable. They're into the Coppa Italia final. They've already won the Supercoppa and primed for an attack on the top two in Serie A. If you were a Juventus fan yourself, David, would you be concerned at the bench tonight?
Well, I think any team's going to go through a period where big hitters are not going to be available. At some stage, when you are talking about a team in a run of fitness and form, where the manager's got to work with younger players, he's got to work with less experienced players, it's all part of the evolution, it's all part of...
Araoni, they're all capable of getting amongst the goals today. Well, an embrace between Ivan Juric and Andrea Pirlo. The Giallo-Blue haven't yet found the killer striker to put away their chances. Kevin Lasagna is the one they're looking to, but he's yet to score his first Serie A goal for the club, having joined from Udinese. Stefano Sturaro coming in to face his old club today, against whom he has already scored this season for Genoa. Faraoni's goal at Genoa last week, his first of the season. Well, Alexandro on the left and Faraoni there on the right, the respective captains of Juventus and Hellas Verona tonight. Fabio Maresca is our referee, the 39-year-old's first game in charge of the champions since the end of November. Luca Banti, by the way, is the VAR. Juve's squad has 8 Primavera players in it today. Defensively, they're missing the likes of Quadrado, Bonucci, Chiellini and the suspended Danilo. So a slight reshuffle. Bernardeschi on the flank, Rabiot returning from his ban. Artur, Dybala, Morata also unavailable. So Cristiano Ronaldo is partnered by Kulusevski up front, who scored their equaliser when these two drew in October. Ivan Juric, barely 10 years of age when this club were last champions of Italy. Andrea Pirlo, debut season, still everything to play for. Well, Juventus continue to climb steadily, ominously, menacingly towards the Serie A leaders. Serial winners, serial champions. But for Kevin Lasagna and Hellas Verona, consolidation, concentration are key. Not so very long ago they were serially bobbing back and forth between Italy's top two tiers.
It's such a good point, isn't it, about how Juventus do approach the Serie A season. More often than not, we see them grind into gear when things start to get really tough, when they then prove their mettle as potential champions. And my word, if anyone knows how to get it done, it's Juventus, isn't it, in quite a long last period of time.
Yeah, it's less about for Hellas Verona about staying in the top division, more about staying in the top half. Such is their progress. Not only have they drawn with Juve once this season, that's not the greatest clearance either, and that's very clever play. And the shot fired into the side netting by Aaron Ramsey.
It's a superb strike, isn't it, by Aaron Ramsey? Catches it so very well. Ronaldo knows he's got to get out of the way because he's in an offside position. Thump towards goal.
Yeah, defensively, Hellas Verona almost shooting themselves in the foot here. A wall of blue and yellow across the edge of the 6-yard line to defend this corner. Through it comes for Dejan Kulusevski. Shapes his body for that top corner curler. And Ramsey trying to lift it on, but that was one of those early season wobbles that you wouldn't expect at this point in the campaign.
Been a bright start, hasn't it, by the away side. Kulusevski there as well, just trying to work the ball onto his left foot. And of course, Hellas Verona know all about his ability with that particular part of his body.
Saying about Hellas, not only drawing with Juve, they've beaten Roma, Atalanta, Lazio, Napoli on their day. A seriously good team, certainly one to be reckoned with.
A couple of loose passes now that we've seen. Absolutely right, Steve, akin to what you'd see in an early season, pre-season game where you're looking at players trying to get the rhythm.
Storaro down here, that collision with Aaron Ramsey.
You can bet you've got a player in Storaro that's hyped up, ready to show you exactly what he can do.
Isn't he just? Joined on loan from Genoa. Faced them as a sub last week. This is his first Serie A start for Hellas Verona today. Look at that defensive line right along the edge of the penalty area. No Bonucci, no Chiellini to attack this today, but plenty of others, including Alexandro and Matthijs de Ligt.
He couldn't generate the power, could he? Big centre half at the back. It was a really high line by Hellas Verona. In theory, that gives Silvestri time to come and claim the ball if it's a deep ball into the box by Juventus.
Almost looks to me, David, as if they're playing with Bentancur and Rabiot, almost like a 3-4-2-1, with Ramsey and Kulusevski just playing off Ronaldo.
It's given him plenty of scope, isn't it, to get forward and support Ronaldo.
Here's Ilic. Bentancur snapping at his heels. Taken up by Cristiano Ronaldo. He's away from Lovato. Ronaldo, little deflection, hooked away then by Magnani. And now Kulusevski. Chiesa nearly put on a plate for Ramsey. Bernardeschi. Lovely shape on that. Is Chiesa. Pinball in there at the moment. Hellas Verona just simply can't get it away properly.
Well, they're just surviving in the opening 5 minutes. Cracking start by the away side. Ronaldo, the man leading the charge in this particular moment. Doesn't manage to work its way all the way across goal, but they do keep the pressure on Juventus.
Chiesa with this corner then. Kulusevski available short, but there are 5 others in black and white to aim for. Ramsey. Well, not the greatest pass. Ilic there. He scored last week against Genoa.
It was a poor set piece, wasn't it? Rather too elaborate when a simple ball into the box can suffice. Gives Silvestri and his Verona teammates time to just decompress slightly. Lasagna is the man, isn't he, that they're really relying on to score the goals, which have not come thick and fast over the course of the season for Hellas Verona centre forwards.
Hellas Verona on the attack, and 2 in the middle waiting. Lasagna and Zaccagni, neither found.
It is well cut out in the end by Alexandro, isn't it? We talk about chances missed from the centre forwards, but even in that particular moment, the ball wasn't going to find its way across the 6-yard box of the strikers. It was going to go into an empty pocket of space around the penalty spot. It's not just about the players that are getting the chances, it's the choices of the men in possession providing the necessary ammunition.
Well, 3 centre-backs in the mix here for Hellas Verona. Trying to draw out that Juve backline. Still plenty forward here, and Szczesny got his hands to that, and I think it came off the frame as well.
It's a fantastic start to the game, isn't it? We saw an opening 5 minutes where Juventus dominated it. Verona now coming back into the side, possibly with the best chance of the game so far.
Well, a very open contest. And you have to bear in mind that this is one of those occasions, we've seen so many of these in recent years, where a team that is able and capable of putting pressure on the league leaders plays the day before, and it's one of those opportunities that Juve really have to take. Well, for Hellas Verona, their fine home record against Juventus down the years, they won here last season, came from behind to do so. Cristiano Ronaldo with the opener, then Barini and a Pazzini penalty.
It's mirrored across Europe, isn't it, when we look at the way that games are now staggered over the course of 3 or 4 days. Very rarely do you get rivals going head-to-head at the same time. Gives teams a chance to lay down a marker, gives teams a chance to try and show that they can deal with the pressure of firming up the gap between the different positions in the relative divisions.
Well, I'm interested to see this skirmish at the other end, where the Giallo Blue nearly took the lead, and in the meantime they have a throw inside their own half here with Di Marco. Here's Lovato, a very experienced Silvestri. Like you, a former Leeds squad player. Thought I'd just throw that in for you.
Emphasis on the squad there, Steve.
Well, in his case, more than yours. Can't have too many stars in Yorkshire.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say they've moved on since we were there, shall we say.
Well, what a job Marcelo Bielsa's done to get Leeds United back in the English top division. And here's Demiral for Juventus. By Rabiot. Juve on Monday night, dispatching Crotone quite emphatically. A couple from Ronaldo, another from McKennie. Also saw the Serie A debuts of Alessandro Di Pardo and Nicolo Fagioli, who are among the Primavera players kept in reserve by Andrea Pirlo here tonight. Lasagna chasing this, gets his toe to it, but also gets caught by De Ligt.
Crass tackle, isn't it? De Ligt on Lasagna as he goes short. Wild swing, isn't it? This was the earlier chance for the home side. The ball tipped onto the post in the end. Great flying header. And you've got to say, it's a truly superb save. Yes, it's onto the post, but it's the reactions, isn't it, of the Juve goalkeeper. Really keeps his side in the game.
The little flicked header from Faraoni, getting there ahead of Lovato. Wonderful reflexes from Szczesny. He really has been from the very top drawer in recent months. Gigi Buffon, who played the other day against Crotone, 654 league appearances in Serie A for him now.
You've got to think for a goalkeeper like Szczesny that having that invaluable experience. Yes, he's an experienced player in his own right, but given what Gigi Buffon's done with his career and continues to do, you hear reports of the way he trains, the intensity that he still brings to his profession. That can only rub off in a positive way, can't it, on the players that have the utter privilege to be with him day in, day out.
Yeah, what a wonderful position it is for Juve to have the experience in reserve, to give Szczesny that little bit of a breather every once in a while. Such an integral part of this club's wonderful success.
Doesn't really do much for the average age though, does it? We're talking about the youngsters involved on the bench, and then Gigi's there propping him up.
Well, I was saying the other week with Cristiano Ronaldo, it's just a number.
There's a player that we've not really mentioned too much in the opening 12 minutes or so, but again, between him and obviously Zlatan, who's doing his utmost for Milan to try and break the stranglehold on Serie A that Juventus have got, really is a phenomenal output by players that have been in the game and achieved so much over such a long period of time. I think the really impressive part about it is coming from a former player's point of view. Yes, we know the quality of the men and the players that we're talking about, but it's the dedication, it's keeping an interest in the profession in the game, which is what we've done.
Rabiot overplayed it. Here's Di Marco, right across the face of goal, and Alexandro couldn't get a touch to safety. Fortunately, too much whip, too much power.
It was uncomfortable, wasn't it? Dwelling on the ball inside their own 18-yard box, not making decisive enough passing decisions to get the ball up through the thirds and away from danger.
Yeah, talking of Zlatan, the Europa League draw pitting him against a former club, Milan, Manchester United, coming up in the round of 16 in Europe. Juve single-mindedly focused on Porto in the Champions League. Now here's Chiesa. Chiesa works the angle beautifully, cleared by Gunter in the end.
It was a joy to watch, isn't he? Chiesa, nice close control within the 18-yard box. The second that gap opens up, he takes the shot on.
Federico Chiesa, a player who really has now settled. Stuck a little bit at the beginning, but in his last 10 league starts, he's scored 5 goals. And here he's whipped it off Di Marco. Kulusevski is mobile here for Chiesa. And he's done wonderfully well to get free here, Kulusevski. Lovely play from him. Rabiot it is who screws it wide, but what a wonderful build-up.
Superb play again, wasn't it, Kulusevski? But this was the earlier chance for the home side, playing themselves into trouble, Juve, and then the ball whips fiercely across the face of the goal. Just crying out, isn't it, for a centre-forward to attack it. And again, we mentioned centre-forwards not being in a position that you can clearly call them clinical, but they could do themselves a favour when that ball is coming in. Di Marco whipping it across the face of the box. There's only one place it's going to go.
Sturaro hoisting it on for Lasagna. Delict away, but only as far as Zaccagni. Recovered by Bentancur. There's no doubting that Kevin Lasagna is a very talented striker at times, but he's lacked the consistency, and it's maybe indicative of that Udinese allowed him to join Hellas Verona. He's a top scorers are Barak and Zaccagni with 5 each. 2/3 of the way through a season, that tells you enough.
It certainly does speak volumes, doesn't it? But again, we're looking at a collective that is in 9th position within the table, so along the lines and along the season so far, it has been a team that's greater than the sum of its parts.
I think the likes of Kalinic, Colli. Di Marco, this one's gone, despite the fact that Ramsey was about to break through.
Certainly been heavily involved, hasn't he, in the opening exchanges, Di Marco. This was a wonderful turn, run and lay off to Rabiot. Just gets it all wrong, sitting up on his left foot. Great work, though, by Kulusevski.
Two coaches in their 40s, each with different targets. Stability, solidarity, the key for Ivan Juric. Zaccagni here drives on. Ramsey's tackle. Thought he got the ball, he gets a yellow card. Referee was right on top of it.
I think it's safe to say that Juve and Aaron Ramsey feel hard done by. It's like a nice clean challenge by the Welshman. Just his toe to the ball ahead of Zaccagni, isn't it?
How's that a yellow card?
It's not, quite clearly, Steve. I can't see the referee. Maybe he's been swayed by the reaction of Zaccagni. Maybe we are in an era now where the immediate reaction is that must be a foul. Let's work backwards from that instead of good challenge, bit of collateral damage in the fact that Zaccagni has gone to ground, but doesn't mean to say that it has to be a foul and it has to be a yellow card, does it?
Well, Ramsey unlucky there, I think. Lasagna, good play from the striker just to screen it, bring Di Marco into the play. Not the best return. Zaccagni there with a V on the back of his head, presumably for Verona. Lasagna. Well, good one to gauge. Gunter it was who got it first. Here's DiMarco Ilic. This promising teenager on for Zekani. Back with Lovato. Sturaro, entrusted with controlling that midfield area alongside Ilic today. Barak. Sturaro. Yanni and Faraoni controlling down the other flank for Juventus Verona tonight. Well, a good little spell of possession from Juventus Verona that forced Juve to hustle and chase. Here's Barak.
Very kind of composed, and
we better just clarify, Steve Claridge is someone who played for seemingly about 40 years in English football.
Definition, and I think given the amount of clubs that he actually did have, I think it's a definition rather than an actual put down or anything like that. It's a great way to describe the career that he had, but sorry, I digress, don't I, away from what we've seen.
Who'd have thought we'd be talking about him in a match like this? Never mind.
It sounds like we need a chance to talk about, doesn't it?
Well, Bernardeschi, who's been such a useful squad player for Andrea Pirlo this season. I was saying earlier, just 5 league starts. Sometimes you just get the feeling that certain individuals are never really going to push their way into a particular coach's starting 11. Rabiot gave it up, waited for the whistle, and it duly came.
It's a cheap one, isn't it? Sturaro pulling the shirt of Adrian Rabiot. So easy for the referee to give. Nonsense, really, when it comes to trying to define a challenge.
Rabiot. A little give and go down the flank. They've got Kulusevski mobile in the middle. Ramsey's well forward. Cristiano Ronaldo's over there, trying to get involved in a match where he's been largely contained and suppressed. Here's Chiesa. Kulusevski, like Chiesa, exciting upcoming talents in their early 20s. Rabiot. Blocked by Faraoni, and it spins all the way back for Alexandro here. Lovely flick. Round the corner from Kulusevski to Ronaldo. And Cristiano Ronaldo. Little rub of the shoulder once, then twice. And no matter which foot he uses, you expect him to hit the target. Such is his quality. Yeah, it's a slip really that opens the door. Bernardeschi is on for the ball down the left-hand side, but given the paucity of chances so far for Ronaldo, he's always going to try and work that into a shot for himself, wasn't he? His initial or immediate reaction, sorry, is knowing that Bernardeschi was a man as an option down the left. Well, Kevin Lasagna chasing this, but good understanding between De Ligt and Szczesny. Thumbs up from the goalkeeper to his defensive colleague. Yeah, rightly so. Good combination as well, wasn't it? Quick across the ground, Szczesny. Rabiot's lost it. And it's back on the attack with Zaccagni. And Lasagna with a stooping header without any power to trouble Wojciech Szczesny. Just taking his time, isn't he? Allowing Juve to get set to build from the back once again. It's not really borne them much fruit so far in the opening 26 minutes, has it? Pace of the pass isn't actually there. The zip-in, moving the ball around, needs to improve. Well, I think Andrea Pirlo's team selection today speaks volumes about putting faith in the established first-team players, maybe tweaking the system very slightly. We've seen them play this almost 3.5 centre-backs. Or 3.5 defenders, I should say. Sometimes a back three, sometimes a back four. Well, his options slightly more limited today. Well, very much more limited, with no Cuadrado, Bonucci, Chiellini, Danilo suspended. It's not just good players, is it? It's huge experience as well. Really is key when you're a team trying to make up ground on a very top position in Serie A. That's got to be a foul throw. Well, no one else has picked it up, but it's not one in which VAR can intervene. Chiesa's still making his point, but he's gone through the back of Zaccagni there. There's a danger sometimes of players trying to...
captains, and the VAR official is Pizarro Gomez, surrounded by his monitors. As we see now, the Osasuna side, their last game was a 2-0 home loss against Sevilla, where they felt they played pretty well. Travel to Granada. Elche next to bottom and only a point at the moment. A welcome back to the Mendizorroza. The substitutes out there keeping warm as the evening turns a little chilly in the Basque Country, in the beautiful city of Vitoria. We await the return of the players for this very finely balanced game, which is a key one down near the
A sign of intent, perhaps, in the opening stages of the second half from Juventus, a sign of up in the tempo.
Minder Bernardeschi playing down the left. Demirel, Delict and Alexandro comprise the back three, with the suspension of Danilo adding to the absences of Bonucci, Chiellini, Cuadrado. Bear in mind, of course, that the sheer volume of fixtures in this quite extraordinary season, that mental recovery time, let alone the physical recovery time, is maybe not there to the same degree, that, especially when you've got all these injuries right now. Lots of the players having to get up, get on, get out there on the pitch every few days without too much of a break, and the travel time itself and the travelling itself can take its toll.
Well, certainly an attritional element to the way that we're expecting players to perform.
So Kanye just showed too much to Chiesa. Bentancur. And Kulusevski has been someone showing plenty of creative ideas and positive attitude in the match so far. Bernardeschi trying a trick which didn't pay off against Faraoni.
Be intrigued in the years to come to hear what the players have made of these exceptional circumstances. Yes, we know where football fits into the grand scheme of things, but the sheer volume of games, playing in empty stadiums, the discussion around them.
Good movement here, Chiesa. And here's Ronaldo! And there is Juve's opening goal. Well, a familiar source, a familiar finish, defying age. And sometimes a player who, when he rises in the air, even defies gravity. At this, a more simple finish for a man who was left unguarded.
He genuinely is amazing, isn't he? He's a player that, by his own standards, got a frustrated figure in the first half, but you just know when you're talking about Ronaldo, you just know when he's on the pitch that at some stage he's going to have a major impact on proceedings. It's why he's a big game player. Huge question marks of Silvestri. It's not the most powerful Ronaldo shot you're going to see from inside the 18-yard box. I don't know whether it takes a little bobble up and over Silvestri in the Verona goal. But even more, again, from Ronaldo. He's a player that always affects things around him, always tries and drags up the level of the players around him. And when his team's needed him tonight, he steps up.
No, it seemed to squeeze and squirm and wriggle under Silvestri. Cristiano Ronaldo, 31 Serie A goals last season. That's 19 in 23 for this season. If you extrapolate that, comes to about another 31 this campaign. There's a consistency about him. There would also be a question mark, I think, about Novato. He just lost Ronaldo, and when you get a chance to see that replay, rather looked to me as if when Chiesa had the ball, Ronaldo was making his run and Lovato was slow to react. Now the referee well positioned to see that challenge. Zaccagni goes down. Di Marco, Zaccagni looking now for Faraoni. Bentancur, safety first. Hold on just a sec.
Certainly a discussion, isn't it? Chiesa with his arm on Zaccagni, that isn't the most robust challenge you're going to see, is it? Thankfully, it's a stoppage for a substitution rather than actually the referee being spoken to.
DiMarco leaves, Lazovic on. Straight swap left side. Well, Cristiano Ronaldo up to 19 Serie A goals for this season now. Indeed, the man who put Juve in front in the corresponding fixture here last season. On that occasion, Hellas Verona recovered and went on to win 2-1. Well, an effort from a long way out. They're appealing for a little touch there, and Fabio Maresca not at all impressed here as Faraoni struck it. Did it catch Rabiot?
Tough one for the referee to try and break down, isn't it? I think maybe the point that he's making is he didn't instantly know what the answer to the question was. Faraoni just saying to the referee, didn't you hear the touch off Rabiot that took it up and over the bar?
As Verona with the corner. Szczesny solidly underneath it, thumped back by Lazovic, the new substitute.
It was a snapshot, wasn't it, from Verona, never troubling Szczesny.
Well, all sportingly done.
Just entering an intriguing part of the game now, aren't we? Juve with the noses in front, whether you think it's deserved or not, it's happened. Ronaldo with an impact on proceedings. Bright enough first half, wasn't it, from the home side? Changes that have been made, obviously DiMarco's gone off.
I think the thing for me, David, was just we saw the stats at half-time and we saw that Juve had more of the play. They had more efforts on goal, although the same number on target. It just hasn't felt like they've dominated the match.
Yeah, it belies what we've seen with our own eyes, doesn't it, really? I think it's the quality of what they've done in possession that's been found wanting. Yes, they managed to get the noses in front, but they needed a reaction in the opening exchanges of the second half. They came out with a bit more impetus, a bit more purpose, didn't they?
Well, Rabiot on to Ronaldo. Chiesa, whose awareness of his colleagues was impressive for the goal. Kulusevski tried to return the compliment, and indeed sliding in is Lazovic. Didn't really have too many options then.
He's been tireless, hasn't he, up front so far, Kulusevski. Ronaldo's the man that's got the headline at the moment, but it's the tireless work of his teammate that's helped him out no end.
Yeah, the effort Kulusevski's put in with all the runs around, that certainly kept Hellas Verona's defenders very busy tonight. But another good assist from Federico Chiesa. Flags up. Ronaldo disagrees.
Tight one, wasn't it? Just operating on the very out shoulder of the last man.
But the correct decision. Now Lasagna. Kevin Lasagna drills it right at De Ligt. Storaro. Veloso. The Juventus Verona pair in central midfield now. Here's Zaccagni. This is better. Barak attacking.
It was a good run to the near post, wasn't it? Alexandro, the man tasked with tracking the run. It's such a dangerous area. Gives Verona another chance to get the ball up and on top of Szczesny in the Juve goal.
I wonder if we'll see Barak gamble a bit more, push up more, closer to Lasagna in this second half now. Chasing the game. Oh, and that was a pretty obvious attempt to try and persuade the referee to give a penalty. Of course, the VAR is reviewing every incident like that. No danger of that going unnoticed.
It was a desperate attempt, wasn't it? Matched with the desperate noise that came as well.
Now Kulusevski given the free kick. And Yanni's challenge from behind.
This was the shout, wasn't it? Again, it's another player throwing himself to the ground to try and get the referee to make a decision for Oni in that particular moment.
I mean, there was an arm on him, but it was just so obviously a fool to try and claim a penalty.
Well, that's just the kind of landscape that's been created, isn't it? There might be an arm on a player, but whenever does it send them to the ground? It wouldn't really.
Bentancur, and again. Storaro, the player down this time. Chiesa's a busy bee right now. His foul on Storaro.
Nothing sinister in it, was there? As the ball lifted up into the 6-yard box, Alexandro tracking the run of Barak. Food for thought, though, isn't it, for Ivan Juric? What's to be expected of the coach and his team in the last half an hour of the match? Yes, it's 1-0, but it's been an evenly fought contest so far.
Well, it's the point where you really do look at a bench and see, okay, well, now it's up to Verona to transform the landscape, as you call it, and you think of the players who can do that. They brought on Veloso and Lazovic. Favilli was once with Juve and scored against them not so very long ago when they met in Turin at the end of October. So I'll say there would be another attacking option for Ivan Juric, but a little bit of a tug there from Lovato. Still going here, and Ramsey's shot smothered and blocked.
Great play again, wasn't it, by Kulusevski, electing to stay on his feet with, I feel at times, been not disparaging of what we're seeing in front of our eyes from a behavioural point of view from the players, but in that particular movement, the Juve man elected to stay on his feet, drive into the box, set up Aaron Ramsey.
Alexandro getting a good foot in there. And Kulusevski once again, a slippery, slithering customer.
Does operate well, doesn't he, across the whole of that front line. Well, that was the man that got a face full of football from Alexandro. This was on the other side of the pitch where he drove into the box, set the ball up for Aaron Ramsey. Stout defending, though, by Magnani.
Jumped on Magnani and nudged by Barak and Zaccagni. Bentancur here. And look at Chiesa. One thought in mind, positive, driving forward. A little bit of a stumble ahead of him. Back with Bernardeschi now though, Ramsey outside it. Chiesa wants it square, here he is. Kulusevski. Ronaldo lurking far post. Rabiot, I think, was just trying to flick it on to him. Zaccagni and Lazovic in tandem down the Verona flank. They've worked it very well. De Ligt thrusts it up as far as Zaccagni once more. Miguel Veloso, shooting range for him. And a respectable effort on target.
Yeah, never really going to trouble Szczesny, is it? Bending into the Juve goalkeeper. Just a couple of moments before, something that really exhibited what you were saying, Steve, with regards to getting support up to Lasagna. Wonderful driving run down the left-hand side, the ball into the box. Only one person to aim for, that man was Lasagna. Barak came in the latter stages, but when he's outnumbered 4-1 by the Juventus defence, what chances Lasagna got if the ball's not absolutely on his toes?
Well, 19 attempts now in the match. The stats lifting more rapidly in this second half as the stakes become ever more apparently higher. Yeah, just look at it there, look, Lasagna in the middle. There's no one within 20 yards of him.
Talk about isolation. Look, 4 Juventus defenders around him. He's got to do something out of this world to create a goal from that, hasn't he?
Storaro. Of course, a long time ago it used to be many clubs would play with an out-and-out front two. As tactics have evolved and the game has become all the more fascinating for it, whether it's 3 or 4 at the back or 3-4-2-1, all these different variations and permutations that coaches introduce these days. Nonetheless, it's about playing well with teammates and colleagues, and if one player like Lasagna is just left without any support around him against top-class defenders, he's got his work cut out. Here's Zaccagni, Lazovic to the left. Zaccagni, and well, a little ricochet through that takes it kindly for Szczesny. Yeah,
it was nearly but not quite once again, wasn't it, from the home side. Zaccagni in that driving roll down the left-hand side. Really such an important point you're making, Steve, about where the striker in Lasagna is being either used or underused by his teammates. When he is on his own and he has got 10 or 15 yards of space around him, then the ball into him has to be absolutely perfect for him to do something with, because if it's up for a flick on, teammates aren't close enough to get whatever flick on it is. It's got to be done in a way that he can control it, he can bring other players into play, but on the flip side, his teammates have to be willing and committed enough to get up to help him.
I suppose it's all about the difference between an individual and a team. And, he looks desperately in need of a companion up there in that Verona attack. Ramsey down. And at the moment, 1-0 to the champions. And the goal from Cristiano Ronaldo, not going to go down as a classic for his collection, but yet another to contribute to his burgeoning stats. Miguel Veloso now. And Zaccagni thinks that's a corner. The referee agrees. Demiral.
Sloppy play once again, though, wasn't it, Juve? Rabiot was the man that gave the ball away, allowing Hellas Verona the chance to drive into the 18-yard box, which has in turn led them to create a corner.
Barak near post, Lovato behind him. No one in blue attacking the ball. Barak actually took it away from Gunter. Ricocheting around, but successfully for Juve, finding Ramsey. Verona coming into this off what has been their best home run of the season, having won the last 3, Crotone, Napoli and Parma. they have only kept the one clean sheet since November. 1 in 14. You see about the improvements that Andrea Pirlo's made. For me, when Chiellini returned, the Juve defence looked rugged and strong once again. He was exceptional the other week. Here's Bernardeschi. How many times have we said that, mind you, down the years? Bernardeschi, still going. Ronaldo. Only needs half a yard.
Certainly he's a loss for any defence, isn't he? Chiellini, what he brings, leadership, but the actual ball-playing aspects of what he is as a defender.
I think as much as anything, not just the expertise, he reads the game so brilliantly, and he's still got the hunger, the desire, and it's full-blooded passion from him.
Yeah, it's wonderful to see when you see him playing, isn't it? It's a real sense, the art of defensive leadership that he shows.
Well, Storaro's not going to score against his old club today, even though he did so for Genoa not so long ago. Ronaldo Vieira coming on here. And Weston McKennie for Juve. Well, Aaron Ramsey has had a yellow card, but boss may be saying to him, well, you've done a good job.
Yeah, he got caution, didn't he? Should have perhaps had a goal as well.
Yes, in some senses he's deserved the goal, but he didn't deserve the yellow card. But McKennie, well, the top scoring player from the USA in Serie A history now. Bernardeschi's corner. Bounce that looks as if it might fall kindly for Kulusevski. McKennie is there and available for Alexandro. But Zaccagni's down.
Again, it eats into the rhythm of the game, doesn't it? Hasn't been a game that's really been the most fluid example of Serie A football, has it?
Well, I think it's one of those where, you know, at the end of it all, this is one of those where it's less about the performance, more about the result. If Juve get the win and put the pressure on the top two ahead of their matches tomorrow, job done. Absolutely
correct. And again, we talk about an exceptional season and having been in a position where you do grind games out and you can look back over the course of a season and games can just disappear into the ether. It's one of those, really, isn't it? If it's 3 points, as you quite rightly say, Steve, that adds up to Juve being able to lift the title come the end of the season, and it is hard earned, it's well fought, it's thoroughly deserved, because there's no way of fluking a Serie A title, is there? As I said earlier on in the proceedings, Maurizio Sarri moved on because they didn't perhaps perceptively win it in the right way, which still baffles me. You either win a title or you don't win a title, regardless of how you win it. And if it does mean that it's the 3 points that helps Scudetto to remain with Juventus, then it's well earned, isn't it?
Well, 10th consecutive title is the target. When you think back to that period 35 years ago when it was Verona who were the champions. They did actually meet in the second round of the European Cup back then when Juve were the defending European champions. Goalless first leg in Verona, but Juve won the second leg 2-0, only to be knocked out by Barcelona in the quarter-finals. Juve have always been the masters of getting the important results, even when their performance and their form hasn't been at their highest level. And at the moment, with 20 minutes to go, it's not going to go down as one of the matches you'll remember this season, but it may be every bit as vital. And And you'll hear coaches talk about every game being worth 3 points, and it's worth reiterating that. It may not be pretty, it may not be glorious football, but if they grind out the win here against tough opponents. Andrea Pirlo talked about it being a physical game in prospect at his press conference yesterday.
I think as well, again reflective of world football, even though they are a big team, still going to miss players. You mentioned Chiellini earlier on, Bonucci of course, Cuadrado, Danilo. We've only got to look at the Premier League and see what damage injuries have done to Liverpool's title, or attempt at a title challenge once again, back-to-back in the Premier League. No football club is immune from the whims of form and fitness.
Zakania here, just brushed off by Rabiot. Well, Hellas Verona still have a way back into the match here. And they've got Faraoni coming in to attack it. Maybe not enough of a presence in the penalty area at times, as we've mentioned, but if Juve keep a clean sheet despite the absence of all those top-line defenders, again, De Ligt, Demiral, Alexandro, they're super players, they're tremendous players, but they haven't been the go-to players when Bonucci and Chiellini have been available. Not when they've both been available, at least.
That's just the thing, isn't it? There'll come a time, of course, when Chiellini and Bonucci are no longer that first choice, but it's no disgrace at this moment to be second choice to statuesque defenders, and I mean both literally and figuratively, given what they've achieved in the game.
Just a moment here, because Cristiano Ronaldo injured, looks like the knee. Good to see him back on his feet so quickly.
It was innocuous enough, wasn't it? Turned and ran into Magnani. I don't really understand where he expects Magnani to go. He can't just vanish into thin air, can he?
And you're right, David, about the mantle being passed really from Bonucci and Chiellini to the likes of De Ligt and Demiral especially.
Let's be honest as well, it's tangible minutes on the pitch, because if you look at De Ligt's time in Italy so far, yes, he's getting minutes on the pitch. It's not been a roaring success, has it? And again, they've got a chance now just to show how good they are defensively, something that Szczesny's going to want to see again.
Well, he's smiling, but he might not be smiling if Hellas Verona capitalise on the error. Faraoni darts near post. Almost too much air, almost too much height on that corner. Veloso, Zaccagni behind Barak. The interception easy, comfortable, and Juve bring it away with they're waiting for support here. Kulusevski's wide. Just one final point on the Juve centre-backs, 21 and 22, De Ligt and Demiral. If they've got the longevity of Bonucci and Chiellini, well, that's the centre-back pairing for the next decade.
Absolutely, and you can only think, as we were speaking about Szczesny and Gigi Buffon, about passing of the mantle and the passing of the